Hello there viewers, it is Super TT here again, and today I am bringing you the third part of my F1 2014 career mode. So today we are in Bahrain for round 3, and what you're going to see here is my qualifying lap in Q1. Now that I have changed the settings around a little bit, I got into Q1 quite easily in the end. Wasn't too much trouble at all. Am I getting that the wrong way around? I might be the final bit of qualifying, the third bit of qualifying, Q3, or if they count down in Q1. But whatever, the top 10 shootout, I got through to that, and you're seeing my best lap right here. It was a mid 1:36, I do believe. It was actually quite a decent lap. Now the settings I'm going to use from here on in, like difficulty wise, are expert AI, but I'm going to have no assist, so traction control and ABS and all the what's the other one, like the racing line, all that stuff, that's all off. So I haven't got it on the hardest difficulty AI wise, it's on legend, but I do have it on hardest difficulty in terms of drivability of the car, because all of the assists are off for that. So I thought that was a quite good compromise at the moment. Perhaps later in the season, if it changes, if it becomes too easy or too hard, then I'll adjust it again, but for now those will be the settings. So as I'm going to come around into the final corner now at Bahrain, it's a quite tricky right-hander that opens up quite a lot on the exit. It's quite a weird exit curb, so it is quite hard to judge exactly where you're meant to accelerate. But there we go, activating DRS just before the finish line, and that is my best lap for the session. That was at the very start of the session. Now I did bolt on a brand new set of tyres and go out for a second run at the end of the session, which is normally what they do in Formula 1, and you can see here coming into the final sector I was 2 tenths up, so I probably would have beaten the time as long as I got a decent final corner. So I didn't get a good final corner on my best lap, so I probably would have got better, but I take a bit too much curb here, like so, and I spin out. So unfortunately I wasn't able to complete that lap. Now I could have gone and done another lap, but in fact the next lap I did, I made a bit of a mistake on turn 1, so I abandoned that lap. So there's the final standings. Lewis Hamilton's on pole with Rosberg second, Fernando Alonso in a surprise third, Vettel fourth, and myself in fifth. Felipe Massa, my teammate, just behind me on the grid, directly behind in 7th. Just there he is. And so here we are on the grid. Sebastian Vettel just ahead of us onto our right. Jenson Button qualified quite well in the McLaren, in 6th place on my inside, just behind me. Now away we go from the grid, and I'm going to go straight into Rich Mixture 3 to get more power out of the engine. Massa is going to try and attack me. I'm going to cover a middle line, and I thought he's on the inside there, so I'm going to go wide, but Alonso brakes so early, so I managed to get past him, so that's 1 position gained. Bit of oversteer through turn 2. Now we come up the straight into turn 4, and I have consolidated 4th position. I'm going to cover the inside just to make sure that Massa doesn't attack me. I have a bit of a nibble at Vettel there, but I back out just to make sure that he doesn't spin out and I don't get a penalty. Now we come into the twisty right and left chicane, into one of the middle hairpins, the first of 2. And you can see here I go down into lean mix. Now it's come to my attention that a technique that many top drivers were using in this game is to adjust the fuel mixture, not to make not to actually change the amount of fuel being used, but to adjust the traction coming out of corners. Now, as I said earlier, I'm not using traction control, so once you put the mixture down to lean, you can be a bit less fearful when you put down the accelerator. So essentially putting it onto lean will mean you can accelerate a bit easier coming out of the corners in high traction zones, normally very slow corners. So you'll see throughout the race and throughout qualifying that you've already seen that I put it down to lean mixture going through turns 1 and 2, and also through the middle hairpins. Now I'm going to come up to Sebastian Vettel here, DRS is not engaged because it's not lap 3 yet, but I'm going to go quite easily past him. Remember that Williams is one of the fastest cars in a straight line this year, or in 2014, and Red Bull is quite well known to not be very quick down the straight, so that was quite an easy pass. So now I am in 3rd place, which is a good solid podium considering the Mercedes are so quick in this game. You can see they've already scampered off into the distance a good 2 or 3 seconds after only 1.5 laps. So it's going to be very hard to try and beat those two. I think they've been programmed in this game, probably quite rightly so I suppose, to just be so quick on this track. If you remember correctly, for anyone who actually watched the Bahrain 2014 Grand Prix, Mercedes won by an absolute mile, even with a safety car halfway through the race. The safety car brought them, reeled them in essentially for the rest of the pack, but then after the safety car went, they just disappeared again. So without the safety car, they probably would have lapped like near enough everyone. That's how quick they were in Bahrain. So I'm going to come into the final sector now of lap 2, and I'm setting a decent pace because I am slightly getting away from Sebastian Vettel, just behind us. But unfortunately, Lewis Hamilton, who is in 2nd now, who started on pole, they're both getting away from me at the moment. So it's going to be very hard again to catch those two up unless they start fighting with each other. By which mean and then I can't even talk. By battling with each other, they're going to lose time. So hopefully they can start doing a bit of that. You never know, one of them might take the other one out. And then I'll gain 2nd place for free, and there is a corner cut warning, but that's not going to come to anything in the end, so we're not going to worry too much about that. So we're going to fast forward on to the end of lap 6, and this is where I'm meant to be coming into the pits. You can see Sebastian Vettel is about 3 seconds or so behind me, so I have pulled out that gap just a bit more to a comfortable distance, but I'm not going to pit on this lap. I feel quite comfortable on these tyres. I'm going to do half and half of the race. Now technically you should do a bit less on the prime tyre because it is a bit softer, which means it can't do as much of the race distance, but for this race I felt comfortable, so I'm just going to go around and do another lap just to mix it up a bit. The car was actually not too bad. You can see through turn 2 it actually oversteered a bit, but that was because it was in rich mixture, if I remember correctly. It's through this section here where I do like to put it down to lean. So essentially what you're going to do is just tap up then down on the D-pad very quickly just to put it into lean mode, and then if you want to put it back into rich, just press up 3 times on the D-pad, and that will put it into rich mixture for you. So just remember those quick sort of shortcuts to changing the fuel mixture. Just press up down for lean, up for rich, or up right for standard. And because when you're coming into the corners, you obviously don't have very much time to start messing about with the buttons, so you have to be very quick with it, and you have to be sure that you know what you're doing before the braking point. Because if you're doing it while you're braking, then you're focusing on too many things, and you're probably going to crash or get the corner completely wrong. That's probably what I was thinking about in qualifying. I was probably thinking about too many things, and then I span out on that last corner. You can see on my faster lap. So here we go into the pit lane. We are currently in 2nd. So Hamilton did pit, Rosberg stayed out, and he has just come out of his pit box just ahead of me still, as expected. I suppose he was about 7 seconds ahead of me before the pit stops. So there we go, 3.7 seconds again. That was pretty much the same time as it was in Malaysia and Australia. I'm surprised because normally the F1 teams now can do sub 3 seconds quite easily, or low 3 seconds, but it seems to be 3.7 pretty much every time, so I don't know how to improve that at all. But at the moment it looks like that has worked out quite well, because the gap to Vettel seems to have got a slight bit bigger, which is helpful, just to be a bit more comfortable, so I don't have to push so hard to try and get away from him. The only problem is that the gap to Hamilton hasn't really changed, so as it stands right now, it looks like I'm in a really quite comfortable third. No one behind me is an immediate threat, but then again, I'm not an immediate threat for the people ahead of me. Namely both the both Mercedes, should I say, not the McLarens. So we are going to come up into this dodgy left hand. You can brake very late here and then just carry the speed through quite nicely. Get back over to the left hand side. You can take this full speed quite easily. Now this is quite a tricky braking point. Get close to the curb, but you don't really want to go on it because it will unsettle the car. Get on the throttle fairly early. Remember, when you're throttling or when you're accelerating out of the corner, apply a small amount of throttle to begin with, and then apply the full throttle a bit later. That way the car responds a bit better. Technically, from a technical perspective, cars don't respond well to just the throttle being just planted instantly. You should feed it through gently and the car will accelerate a bit better. So here we are on lap 14. Unfortunately, the second half of this race was pretty much a procession. I didn't manage to gain, and Vettel didn't manage to gain on me. So it looks like I was pretty much best of the rest after the Mercedes duo of Hamilton and Rosberg. I couldn't gain on them at all, and then again no one could gain on me. So I was in a quite comfortable third for the rest of the race, sort of just lapping around, managing my fuel, managing my tyres, make sure I didn't make any mistakes. And it was pretty much a comfortable third position, which is good. I suppose in real life, if you were in a comfortable third and there was no chance of getting second, you'd rather it was just a very boring, comfortable race where you didn't have to do too much. So we are going to go to lean mixture there, just to make sure that we don't run out of fuel. We've got 4 or 5 seconds over Sebastian Vettel now, so we can afford just to tone down the fuel mixture just a little bit and make sure that we get to the finish line, because there's no chance of gaining, so you might as well just go into lean, and that solves the fuel problem. So here we go into the final corner of the race, and it's going to be quite an easy third in the end. So there we go, have confirmation of Nico Rosberg winning the race. Lewis Hamilton was second, and Steve Alvarez in the Williams in third place, which is a very good result. So there we go, there's confirmation of that. The objective finished second of above. I failed that, but I think that was a bit too much to expect with the Mercedes so strong. So there's confirmation. We had Fernando Alonso had a bad race there. I think he went from 3rd to 5th. Felipe Massa finished 7th, which was not too bad, which is solid points, I suppose. A couple of points in there, and I've got another 15 points to add to my tally. And we're going to go to the drivers championship here. So I'm in 3rd place still, just ahead of Fernando Alonso. It looks like I'll be battling on the fringes of the title with the Mercedes duo, as long as I'll be basically what Ricciardo was last year. I'll be on the edge of it, but it'll be hard to say if I'll be able to win it. Now, I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. Remember, I've got a Twitter account now, so if you want to follow me, there's a link in the description, so by all means do that. Give me a like and subscribe if you want to see more. I've got plenty of racing game content coming out soon, and well, every day near enough. So thank you for watching, see you later.